Hi, I'm Trevor Smith, and I'm the founding chairman of the INFOSERV Global Enterprise and the chairman of INFOSERV People Tech Solutions. So people ask, why INFOSERV? Why does INFOSERV exist? Well, the real story is that it goes back to the early 70s. I actually worked as a regional director of the large British pharmaceutical company Boots, and they consistently asked for information that was not available to me. And so I went away to study in Germany, and one of the things that I learned to do was to get that information that was always missing. And so I came and started INFOSERV, Information and Services. That's what it is. That's what INFOSERV is. So we provide information and services. And now, 40 plus years after, we're still doing exactly that, but in a much wider sense. All right. INFOSERV actually solves two fundamental areas that challenge organizations. One of them is the use of technology. As we know today, in order to be efficient and function competitively, you need to have support in terms of technology support. So INFOSERV has that as a pillar. We provide powerful technology solutions that enable organizations to be a lot more productive and to be more efficient. Also, on the other side is the other pillar of INFOSERV, which is our capacity development area. We have a mission to actually empower individuals, teams, and their organizations. We drive productivity and performance through the development, the empowerment of individuals. Interestingly, as I'm speaking to you, we're working on a project with a major ministry of government. This is a multi-year project where they want it to be transformational. They wanted to have a completely different relationship with the people they serve. And one concern that they had then was we needed to become a center of excellence. So we needed to have these values that everybody would aim to, and we wanted to have those values manifested in a granular way right throughout the organization. Now, we know traditionally that there are mission statements and vision statements upon walls, but how do we translate that into behaviors that an executive secretary would do, or an internal auditor would be able to see what it is that they are supposed to do and how the performance appraisal systems could be wrapped around it. So that's basically what it is that we are doing. We have gone through then and we prepared for them a competency framework. So it's an electronic competency framework that allows individuals to be able to see what it is that they ought to do, the context in which they ought to do them, and then to be able to monitor the values related to how the job is supposed to be done. So that's what it is that we have been enabling them to do. As it speaks now, we are actually looking at a leadership development program that is driven by that competency framework. So the competency framework actually acts as a hub. And it's powerful. I mean, right now, we have 140 something persons in this leadership development program that's directly related to the work that we did in terms of cascading values down through the organization in a granular way. People say to me, where do you find the time to do all of this writing? Because I see you in cyberspace. I noticed that you had articles with a national newspaper, the Gleaner. So when we put Trevor E S Smith and Gleaner, then we see tons of articles. We also see you on LinkedIn. Where do you find the time? Really, I must say that I have a lot of insights. I've studied under gurus. I've invested a lot of time in just acquiring information and finding out more about behavior and how we impact others by our actions. And so there is a burning desire to, it sounds bad, but to say to make people better, to help us to behave better at the individual level, in our families, in our teams, in our organizations. And so that's basically why I write. And I have a practice where I send out content like every week, and I've been doing that now for a long time. So I suspect that I must have hundreds of articles in cyberspace. But in addition, some time back, I wrote 2 books. One is 7 Keys to a Lasting Relationship. That's on Amazon. And then Success in Marriage, which is also on Amazon. And I myself have been in over 4 decades married to the same wonderful woman, and we have 3 highly professional daughters. So that's basically an idea of what inspires me to write and to put information out in cyberspace. Wow. INFOSERV is not work. It's really fun. We have like a situation where just last week I had an interview, a relationship. We actually work with Extended Disc on the Revolutionary Things platform. So we do behavioral assessment. So we understand for people to function effectively, the individual need to understand themselves first and then be able to recognize how they can relate to others. And one of the things that I was engaged with, it was to help this budding executive, this individual who was on the way up, to say, hey, when we looked at your analysis, we were able to identify strengths, but we could also find some areas in which you could, if you dealt with those areas, it would catapult you to even higher levels of achievement. And that's something that we do with our behavioral assessments. We help individuals and teams to be able to unlock some of the roadblocks to excellence. So when we drive high performance in teams, that's what we do. We do the assessment of every individual in the team, and then we create wonderful team maps that give them information that it simply cannot get from any other source. That's exciting. And so that's what gets me going. In between watching Manchester United and watching some cricket. That's what happens. So one of the challenges, I must confess, is that I tend to work a lot in the shadows, in the background, enabling others, and being beaten by my colleagues to say, you need to, this idea that you are, the best kept secret is not healthy for business. So you need to be more out there. And so right now, I really focus a lot more now on my presence and to make my availability. And I'm inviting people. I think LinkedIn is the easiest approach, where one could actually just, go to my LinkedIn profile, Trevor E S Smith, and find me. And I want to have a conversation. So when you go to the INFOSERV People Tech Solutions website, you will see that we are saying, let's have a conversation. And that's basically my position right now. I just would like to have a conversation. Let's talk. No commitment, just talk. Just reach out to me and we can talk.